welcome everyone this evening, especially all of our guests, to our Monday, November 5th, 2018 meeting of the County Commissioners. At this time, I'd like for us to stand, and before Brother Hayes gives our invocation, Mr. Peterson would like to say something, and then right after the invocation, Aubrey Swagel, one of our 4-H'ers, will lead us in our pledge.
Please stand. I think it's only appropriate that the Blaine County Board of Commissioners do a moment of silence for Kevin Connors. He worked in Bladen and Columbus. I think it's appropriate for us to do that. If you would like, after we do the moment of silence, we can start praying.
Father in heaven, as our silent respecting one of our heroes, God, we thank you for all our law enforcement and the way they put their life on the line. And Father, we appreciate your protection and guidance in their lives. And Father, I pray that this will continue and this will never happen again in our county or in any surrounding county. And Father, we can lay down at night and go to our daily things because men and women have put their life before the public. And Father, you know the public better than I do. There's some of us that's not so good, and there's some of us that are a little bit good. God, I ask that you would bring a stop to this evil, this hatred, not only in our county, Lord, but in all counties. And God, I ask you to guide our commissioners tonight, that they would make the decisions according to thy will, that your spirit would move on them. And Father, I ask that every citizen in this county, every employee of this county, every official of this county, feel the blessings of your love and our direction. We thank you for taking care of our county. We thank you for taking care of our people. We recorded this morning 41 people that have met eternity. God, we're not overpopulated in Bladen County. We just may be a little underpopulated. But whatever, God, touch our county and heal it. For these things I ask in Christ Jesus' name, and all of God's people. Amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Everyone has looked over and the consent items.
Mr. Chairman, I'd
Yes, sir.
like us to move item 5A up to beyond number 3. Move it up on the agenda. 5A up to below 2, the consent item. Those ladies have to travel a long distance to get back to their residence.
Can I get a motion for 5A to be moved right after approving the consent items? I got a motion by Dr. Mangorn and a second by Mr. Dallas. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
Thank you, sir.
Can I get a motion to accept the consent items as?
So moved. Second.
Got a motion by Mr. Peterson, a second by Mr. Bullock. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item 5A at this time, we will do individual delegation wish to address the commissioner. Mr. Arthur Bullock will get you to introduce your folks.
Okay. It gives me an honor and a pleasure to introduce the group. They are the Southeastern Community and Family Services employees. We have the CEO here. I am chairman of the board of directors there. And the floor is yours, ma'am.
Okay.
She has, five more members there with her.
Where would you like me to go here?
Right there.
Okay. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Dr. Erica Jones Whitaker, and
Excuse me, Whitaker, bring another chair up, ladies, if y'all like. Chair right behind you there, so you can sit down.
oh, okay, so you want me to say, okay, that's fine. So again, my name is Dr. Erica Jones Whitaker, and I am the Chief Executive Officer for Southeastern Community and Family Services. And first, I want to extend my condolences to your community for your loss. We certainly understand that it was a great loss, and we do send our condolences.
Thank you.
So we're just here to update you on our agency. Many of you are probably more familiar with us. Our former name was Fort County. And so, and now we are Southeastern Community and Family Services. This room brings back great memories. We used to have our board meetings in this very room when I first started about almost 5 years ago. I can't believe it's been almost 5 years. But the reason we're here today is just because we wanted to share with you pretty much on an annual basis what we are doing in your community. And I brought my team here with me, and I'm so glad they were able to come with me. Our agency, we support low-income individuals. We serve about 1,500 families in 7 counties. And so, just to let you know, in Blaine County, we provide resources of almost $1 million, $829,000 annually in this community to serve low-income individuals. I'm going to allow Stephanie Ashley to talk about our Community Services Block Program, and Tony Bright to discuss our Head Start program.
Okay. Community Service Block Grant is a federal program that's passed through to the state of North Carolina Office of Economic Opportunity. And what we do with those funds, we have a family empowerment self-sufficiency program. And our main objective is to help individuals find jobs or better jobs. And for fiscal year 17-18, our fiscal year runs July to June. We were able to assist 67 families in Bladen, 67 individual members in Bladen County, 6 rows above the federal poverty guideline. Poverty guideline was 100%, but as of July 1, it went to 125%. The average change in income for Bladen County was $11,450, and the average wage was $9.76. We was able to find 5 individuals employment, 7 with better employment, and we was able to spend with the CSBG funds $90,000 plus annually for the self-sufficiency program. Other things that we are looking at doing different this year, we're gonna be working on a youth enrichment camp program in June. It's a mini camp. It's really great. I started in 2 other counties, and I'm gonna spread it this year coming up to Bladen County. And we're gonna have more workshops. A workshop that's gonna be coming up real soon on the 14th. We're gonna do a nutritional workshop where someone's gonna come in and talk about healthy eating for Thanksgiving. But we're gonna distribute food boxes to our customers that's on the program. And we invite you all to come out and participate or just reserve if you would like. Just let me know so I can make sure we have enough on our menu to serve everyone.
If you move on, I have a question. I just want to ask one thing.
Sure.
On your youth enrichment, can you elaborate on that?
Well, something that I noticed in some of the counties is the kids have not been exposed to a lot of things. And I did one in Columbus County this past fiscal year. And we had someone who come in, we did motivation speaking. We took them to 2 campuses, UNC Pembroke, FSU. We took them to Myrtle Beach, to a museum down there. And we had someone come in and talk about nutrition. We had a retired NFL player come in. We did 5 different fun activities, but just to inform them and expose them to stuff that they're not exposed to every day. And again, we're working with children at the time, 100% of the poverty guideline, now it's 125%.
And one of the things that Tony is going to talk about, our agency, we focus on the whole family, because you can't just provide programs for the children And they're okay when they're in our care, but when they go home to mom and dad, then it's a different story. So we provide care for the entire family. So Tony will talk about, briefly about our Head Start program and what we provide here in your county.
Good afternoon. I'm Connie Brown, the Head Start Director. And in Bladen County, we have 80 children and families here in Bladen County. What we do is get our children prepared for school. We also make sure they are healthy. We provide families with medical homes, such as dental and medicals. Also, we prepare our parents. We sponsor GED programs and all that as well. At the time, we have 2 centers here in Bladen County, Council and Elizabeth County Head Start. But however, you know, the road got washed out, so what we're still providing services, and we made sure that our staff was placed. Now, the children that the parents did not want to go, you know, that's a different story. But the ones that want them to be transported to Council and to Reedwood, we did that. We got it approved by our funding source. Anytime we deviate from our regular program option, we have to get it approved. But we wanted to make sure that we served the children. And so we offered them another site until we can get the building complete in Elizabeth Town. In this county alone, we spent $738,000 and right from now, from July to now, that's what we have served in this county thus far. Is there any questions?
So every year you all should be receiving our annual report, okay? We are serving in your community. So we believe it's our fiduciary responsibility to keep you current on what our agency is doing in not just your community, but other communities. If you're not getting this, perhaps you can let Mr. Bullock know. He is the chairman of our board, and I will have you know that he is serving us well. He is bringing his wealth of knowledge along with humility, and you can't beat that. And we really appreciate you all appointing him to our board. But again, we like to keep you current on what it is that we're doing in the community. As you are making decisions about your community, we are asking you, please always consider the poor people, low income, those individuals that do not have the opportunities that perhaps you and I have. You know, always keep them in mind as you are making decisions, because it's better for them and it's better for our communities. And it is our responsibility to make sure that every man has an equal opportunity. We thank you for your time. Again, Erica Jones-Whitaker, you have this information. If you ever have any questions about our agency or how we can serve your community better or partner with you, because it is a partnership, please don't hesitate to call us. And of course, you have access to Mr. Bullock directly as our chair. Please let us know how we can serve your community better.
Tell them where you're located at here in town.
We are located here. Our office is at here, Bladen County Courthouse.
So the CSBG program is here, but the 2 Head Start centers.
All right, here and on David Street and in Council.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, we had a little setback on the E-Town Center.
Right.
The road got washed out, and it's been closed maybe 6 weeks.
Since the storm, since
Since
the
the
last
storm.
storm, yes.
And
That's the old Scout.
yes,
Yeah, that's
the
right.
JC building. Now, we received word the other day that it has been repaired. Have any of you all been there?
Well, we went there today, and it's still blocked off, but it's still claimed to need a little bit more. We couldn't even get our vehicles in there. So we are anxiously awaiting, at least we're able to still serve the children.
Who's doing the work? Is it the town?
I talked with Mr.
Ricky Line was involved with that.
Pat
Devon.
Devon, and he said they will be meeting with FEMA on details of board.
And, but they had 3 buses that were landlocked.
Yeah.
Couldn't get the buses out.
Yeah. So we just transported the children to the 2 centers because we didn't want to have a breach you know, in their learning, their education. So we just felt like that was the best thing to do. And of course, we're in constant contact with our regional office in Atlanta, and they're guiding us on what it is that we need to do. But they pretty much left, you know, the judgment in our hands to make sure that these children are still being served. Yeah.
We thank you for your service. and
Thank
what
you.
do for our county.
Absolutely. Thank you for hosting us and having us. Thank you.
Thank you. Line item 3, matter of interest to commissioner.
I got one, and I would like to see if it could be considered by the board, and Mr. Martin to get back with us on that. During the years since I've been here, 10 years on the board, we have customarily had the meeting before election rescheduled. And I would like for Mr. Martin to look at when he present the schedule to us, to see if we can put an alternative date into the schedule building that we approve for commissions and elections, because it's only happened every 2 years. And this year, we got 3 people that's running off in this board, and next year, next election, there'll be 6 members running.
Well, we did, let me back up, we talked about it, we brought it up, and it was open for discussion to change the date.
It was an item on the agenda.
No, no, I'm not saying that, I'm just saying, instead of changing the date, when he present the calendar to us, he always present a calendar to us with the dates on it. He can present the calendar with that already built in, you only have to do it every 2 years. And when you present the calendar, I'm just saying, I would really appreciate if you would let us look at it then,
We certainly will.
when you present the calendar, so we can see whether or not we wanna do it before we come up to a meeting right before the election time. That's the only thing I'm asking, that you just, that's every 2 years. Take a look at that, because there's so many guys running, it involve all of us getting ready for things that's happening, we gonna run the day prior to election. And I really would appreciate that.
Mr. Brett, I have, 3 things. You know, at the board's pleasure, I wanna check in, or ask Mr. Martin to check in about recycling shingles. And the second thing, I want, Mr. Martin, if you would please, to on our wall out there on the courthouse yard, I want a brick in Kevin Connor's name. And I already talked to the sheriff at Vicker, he's gonna do it at the sheriff's office. So we need to put a brick out there on the corner of Kevin Connor's. And the third thing is, in-home aids, for example, someone in Blamer, if they use a county car, they got to leave Blamer, come to this town, get a car, go back to Blamer to service the people, and then bring the car back to this town. That's a lot of wasted time and gas, as far as I'm concerned. So I would ask Greg, with the board's permission, that we see if those people can take those cars home, or we pay them some type of mileage.
Can you clarify what people are talking about?
In-home aid people.
And they are stationed or live, is the service in Blainboro?
The services in Blainboro, it's all over the county.
Okay.
The lady in White Oak drives to this town, gets the car, and then goes to Tar Heel.
So for her, she would have to go, she can go the opposite way.
Well,
I'm just trying to understand, that's all.
if she had the car at home, or we're paying gas mileage, she could leave White Oak and go straight to Tar Heel.
Okay, I just want to understand.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to add something to that. What about those individuals that are working in the shelters? You know, like here, if they have to, if they go home and come back, and need a vehicle, why don't we include that in that as well? Sometimes I believe those at the operation center, they go home and have to drive back and forth in their private vehicle. Maybe we should include that as well.
Are you talking about the shelters for disaster?
No, when they have to go, they can go home, but then they're called back in to do work for maybe the shelters, or take what you call it now?
Are you talking about during disaster?
Mm-hmm. Cause some of them I was told some of them had to drive their private vehicles back and forth to their work site and then get a county car and go wherever. What I'm saying is, what you had said, I said, add them in the same proposal.
My question on that, I'm saying, if we looking at doing that, it should be consistent throughout all employees, if they having to come to work and pick up a vehicle to go out to a job. It should just be a policy. If you're gonna do it for one, do it for all of them.
I
If you're gonna be
think
consistent.
these are the only people that don't have offices in this county that come from work from home. The rest, most other people in the county have offices in the buildings, and that's their home station. These in-home aid people, my understanding, do not have a home station, do not have an office.
Well, I thought they had an office when they came in,
Oh, did
and
they?
they had home aid over in the health department building.
I'll be glad to look into it.
I've got something, yes, sir, thank you. I wanna bring up something, I've had several calls on it, and I understand the commissioners made a decision several years ago on this, and I would like consideration for the commissioners to go back and rethink, a situation that has concerned a lot of people, and it's bothered them emotionally, financially, and it has to do with a disaster time. I understand when, and let me break it down, people that work in an office, if we have a storm and the office is closed, they get increment pay, weather pay. But then we have some people, then it goes and has to work shelters or all other kind of positions. And they end up having to leave their home during a time of crisis and maybe have to hire additional sitters. In other words, it's a hardship for them, but the expectations of them is to step out and do the needs for the county when others are at home. And I know that's a debatable question, but they all get an equal pay, but some's at home and some's working. The concern that I have, and Ms. Cobra does a good job, keep up with your time so we can submit it to FEMA and we're reimbursed. And I know the question come up from my understanding years ago that the commissioners felt like if you paid the people again, you were paying them twice. Well, the ones that's not working is getting paid. The ones that are working and making a sacrifice to work is getting paid. But if our county's getting reimbursed from FEMA, then I feel like we're not being fair to that employee because we really got that employee free that week. And, but that's, there's a lot of dissension out there, and I think it needs to be cleared up, and the process needs to be thought through with a little more defining and it broken down regardless which way it goes. We need to explain it to the people better because there is some heartburn over it. And, but I personally feel like if we're getting reimbursed and these people are putting additional hardship by them going, when some of them can say, well, you know, I don't feel good today, or it's really not, I can't hardly get there myself drive-wise. I'm concerned from some of the ill feelings that I've got, and they've been very professional about it, let me mind you that. But I could see the likelihood of that happening in the future, because they're gonna get paid if they stay home. And, but I think we're not looking at the expense that may be being incurred on them, but I don't think we should benefit from the county. And I understand when you say the taxpayers paying twice, but in this case, it's the taxpayers from all over the United States that's helping pay. But our county becomes the benefactor. And I may be saying it wrong, but I don't think I am. And I'm open for better understanding. But I think we need to study that some and really make it a little more clear to the people why we've chosen to go as we have gone.
I have one last question that Mr. President was talking about. Do we have any type of discretionary funds that we have that could be used to cover some of those expenditures? When things like this occur, do we have anything in the line items that we can go and get in the resources from, or they all have to be reimbursed back from FEMA? If you had to pull, where could you pull the funds?
Just from fund balance, or just a budget amendment to appropriate funds from fund balance.
So we could appropriate something from fund balance if
Yes,
it
sir.
ran into someone not being compensated back for time that they worked or something of that nature?
Yes, sir, well, if they work on behalf of the county, then the county's required to compensate them. So it's just an issue of what can be reimbursed. If I'm not mistaken, and I certainly will follow up with this in detail and have a lot of conversation, I think FEMA reimburses for the overtime.
The reason I asked the question, I heard some of the people who have worked during the time, they're looking at giving them comp time and different types of.
Yes, sir, and the board made a decision to pay,
We just made a decision.
the board made a decision to pay them.
So we gonna pay it about it?
Yes, sir, and that's already taken
I wanna make
place.
sure how we gonna do it, 'cause some of them say we get comp time, I say they working, they should get paid.
That was done in previous, that's already been, they've been
I
covered.
wanna make sure.
So, Mr. Brick, can I ask then, if that's the case then, if they're not, is it the ones who they expect to get more pay than just the overtime? Is that what you're looking at?
They feel like that the other ones are not having to put the effort to come to work because their office is closed. But then the expectation is of those folks, you better be here. And, or wherever you, and regardless how you get there, get there. And it is somewhat of a burden to them financially to make arrangements to get there. And we witnessed some of that. You know, we saw some of it right here during the time. I mean, we had a lady sitting right across the hall here, working, and her house filling up with water at the same time, and lost her home, but she's still right over in that room working that night. And I think the sheriff actually finally got somebody to take her to her house to help get, some animals and things out of there. I mean, it's, you have to really know and dig deep to see what some of these people have gone through. It's been a hardship on a lot of them.
And that's part of the critical,
Right.
critical list people who assign.
And we may be doing it just right, Mr. Martin. I
Well,
just,
no,
want-
they're-
we just need clarification and better understanding to the people,
Yes, sir.
so they won't be disgruntled with us, 'cause we don't need that.
And
Thank you.
That personnel committee, that should come up in that discussion when.
And we thought, we did talk about it very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make an announcement.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to make an announcement, Baldwin Branch Missionary Baptist Church, we'll be having a Hurricane Florence relief. And we invite the public to come out, Saturday, November the 10th, at 10 o'clock. We'll be having, food items, perishable and non-perishable items, toiletries, cleaning supplies, water. So you're welcome to come out and, those that are impacted by the hurricane. So we'll be having supplies there, you're welcome to come and get it. And we're glad to be of a service to the community. So you all come on out and get supplies that you need. Thanks, sir.
Yes, sir.
That's 10 November.
November the 10th at 10 o'clock, that's Saturday.
And for those that doesn't know, you know, when we first, after the storm, somehow or another, our county wasn't considered to be one of the most disastrous. They initially posted 6, and there should have been 7, Bladen should have been 1. But with a lot of work after the first day, we got put on that list. But unfortunately, it's taken about 6 weeks for hit the ground level. But there's a lot of people to thank, because we have battled it from the White House down. But, and that's from the sheriff to congressmen, our senators. Everybody has worked hard and hard and harder, and I've worked myself personally from the White House down and to the chief of staff over FEMA, and Mark Meadows, the congressman that is over the FEMA department. He and I talked, and the bottom line is a little politics is going on with our state versus the federal government. And but the federal government won out, and so we've been on that list. And FEMA will be contacting the people that needed homes or needed home assistance that did not have a place to go. All these people will be notified back directly from FEMA. And if you know anybody that falls in that category and they hadn't been notified, please let them know to follow up on it. Because our entitlements is as good as anybody else in any other county as far as our entitlements. So, I'd like to thank everybody that worked hard to make that happen.
Mr. Chairman, now, under this FEMA deal, if a person receives a denial letter, they refer them to the bank, is that right?
Well, the way that works, and I talked, fortunately, I was in my store one day, a man wanted a battery in his watch, and he was here with SBA. when FEMA denies, they try to submit you to go to SBA to get a low interest loan. The guy was real nice, but he said, this is about how I look at it. She can't afford it. Denied, now FEMA take care of the person. That's basically the way that works. And, cause once they deny them, they have to take care of them. And, but that's the process.
But what you're finding though is a lot of individuals are getting the denial letter and they
get disgruntled.
They leave it right there.
Further.
But you should go to the is it SBA?
Yeah.
SBA, and then let them deny you, and then go back and apply again. Is that right?
That's the way it works. Anybody else? All right, let's go to line item 6. Division of Aging, Ms. Kelly Roberts. Oh, I'm sorry. The most important man in the building tonight, Mr. Jeff Singletary, and the sheriff, if you would please come forward. Commissioners, come down front. In grateful appreciation, Jeffrey Singletary for dedicated service to the people of Bladen County as Captain Jeffrey Singletary, presented by the Bladen County Board of Commissioners, given this 5th day of November, years of service, August 1990 to October 2018. Jeff, it's an honor and pleasure on behalf of the Commission for me to present this to you. I've had a lot of opportunity to see you in my store, getting things for everybody else's awards and all. But I think this might top them all tonight. But we hope that your few days you've already had off, that you're fixing to come right back to work. I mean, I understand. But I'll let you answer that.
Well, everybody knows Jeff Singletary, and they know the wonderful job he's done. He got a good working relationship with county commissioners. He enjoyed coming to all these meetings, and worked with them. And I'll tell you right now, I've been joined at the hip with this fellow right here for 4 years. And people don't realize how much money this fellow right here has saved this county. The one thing, the new detention center, law enforcement center, he had a lot to do with that from the day one. And I'm just telling you, it's amazing what Jeff Singletary can do with dollars. He's almost as good as Greg Martin, not quite, not quite as good. But he really is very careful about our money in this county, and he spends it wisely, and he will certainly be missed. He's well respected by everybody with the sheriff's office and the citizens in this county. And he will be greatly missed for 30 days. Then we'll bring him back for a time. So, to Ben, his family, Miss Kathy, congratulations. Thank God for letting us have him. And he has certainly earned his keep. God bless you.
I'd like to say one thing. Jeff and I used to run rescue calls together, and he did a great job with the rescue squad as well. That was the Elizabethtown Rescue. Remember, Jeff?
Now we go to line item 6, Ms. Kelly. Division of Aging.
Good afternoon, evening. Basically what I'm here to talk about is that we are requesting to contract services with the Lumber River Council of Governments in their North Carolina Family Caregiver Support Program. What that program does, what they want us to do for them is to basically act as a liaison because of our housing and home improvement program that we have, so that we can better utilize their funding and not use travel with their limited amount of funding. They have $2,408 that they would like for us to use to provide wheelchair ramps, grab bars, and incontinence supplies for people who have been diagnosed with Alzheimer's or dementia
or some other type of debilitating brain disorder.
Can I get a motion? Motion by Mr. Peterson, second by Dr. Montgomery. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
Second item is to ask for approval for the bylaws for our aging advisory committee. We have met and our advisory committee has approved these bylaws. Basically, any changes or deviation is just that they do not want to be called the advisory board anymore because they are not a governing body. You are. They would like to be called the Aging Advisory Committee. And just the update on the absences. We have had some issues with absences and people just not showing up. So we did amend that to say that absences without acceptable reasons from 3 regular consecutive meetings would result in a vacancy.
Motion by Mr. Peterson, a second by David Gooden. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed?
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Health and Human Resources, Wayne Rayner, Director. Luana, look a little better than Mr. Wayne.
Thank you, I'll take that as a compliment.
Yes, ma'am.
Good evening, yes, I am here on behalf of Mr. Rayner, who is out of town for the next few days. We come before you tonight to ask for consideration to approve the vital records policy. This policy is to ensure that vital records, births, and deaths which occur in Bladen County are registered, processed, stored, preserved, and certified in an accurate and timely manner, as well as facilitate the accurate and timely collection of the state's public health statistics for the purpose of historical and factual production. This policy is being updated to reflect the change in administration only.
Got a motion by Mr. Peterson. We've had a second by Mr. Cogdell. Any discussion?
The vital records gonna be backed up on that new computerized system?
No, sir, that is not a part of the electronic medical records.
So it won't go on?
What we do is whenever we finish with a birth or death certificate, it is automatically sent to Raleigh, who backs it up on their system. They do all the scanning up there for the records.
Dr. Montgomery?
So my question, when I was reading, so you destroy the local ones,
We can destroy in-house after 2 years.
2 years? Okay, but that brings us back up.
Yes,
That's
yes,
what I
ma'am.
asked. Thank you.
Mr. Bullock?
I got one question. If someone dies, a resident of this county dies outside the county, are you all notified?
We do not get notification of that until several months later, Mr. Bullock, until it comes to us from Raleigh. For instance, I'm gonna use my mother as the example. My mother passed away in New Hanover County. New Hanover County is responsible for filing her death because that's the county in which she passed away. That certificate goes to Raleigh. Raleigh in turn is responsible for filing it on their records, and we would have to go to New Hanover County to get a copy of it. But we do get a report every year or every 3 months, how quickly they can get those records turned around. And they send us a list of the deaths that are Bladen County residents, that were born in Bladen County.
But if someone had a communicable disease, are you notified earlier than that?
Not necessarily. But we do, the communicable disease branch, they do keep records and they do the statistical data. Now, they do notify the communicable disease staff. We don't necessarily get it in the part of the vital records, but the communicable disease staff do.
All right, thank you.
Can I get clarification then? You said if they were born in Bladen County?
If you're a Bladen County resident or you were born in Bladen County, we do get eventually a notification that you did pass away.
Okay.
We don't get a copy of the certificate. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
And we do birth certificates too. This is one of the things that people don't understand with the health department. And this is kind of how I try to simplify it. We start your life, we end your life by processing your birth certificate if you're born in Bladen County. And if you pass away in Bladen County, we process your death certificate.
My only thing is, outlying areas, they're not born in Bladen County. They don't die in Bladen County.
Right.
But so you get that later only because they were a resident
Yes,
of
ma'am.
Bladen County.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, the next item we have is our consumer complaint policy. This policy is to provide accurately documented, timely, and quality resolution of consumer complaints or concerns, or to identify areas of service that are in need of quality improvement. Any consumer complaint is fully investigated and is brought before the agency director and management team and is addressed timely. This policy is being updated again to reflect the change in administration.
Motion approved.
Second.
We got a motion by Mr. Peterson, and we got a second by Mr. Tripp. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
Lastly, we have the consideration to approve an independent contract agreement with Nurse Practitioner Services. Currently, we have a FMP that we're using. Unfortunately, she is not going to be able to give us the time that we had assumed was going to be available to her because of demands on her primary job. We do have a young lady, Michelle Simmons, who did work with us several years ago to provide family planning and maternity services, who has retired, who has worked with us for many years, and is willing and wants to come back to work part-time to provide the services when we do not have the availability of the FMP.
Make a motion.
Got a motion by Mr. Peterson, got a second by Mr. Gooden. Any further discussion?
I just one person,
Mr. Cogdell?
on that, when they come in and work like that on the retirement system and come back in and work part-time, is that, salary back reimbursed, partially back by the state, Mr. Martin?
She is on contract. She has been out of the state retirement system, so she would be an independent contractor. We would be paying her directly. She would have to make less than 1,000 hours a year in order to not jeopardize the benefits that she currently has from the state retirement.
Well, I'm asking, is there already a budget item that would allow for that salary to come out of it? That's what I'm asking.
Yes, sir. That is under our current salary that we had for a FMP that has been budgeted.
Okay.
What credentials are?
Her credentials, she's a nurse practitioner. She received her training through Emory University.
No, but locally, who monitors her? Because even though she's been credentialed before, suppose she lost her license, so who monitors that thing?
I actually have gone in there and done all of her paperwork to review that, make sure that she is currently an active nurse and she is registered to practice.
Dr. Roxy Wells.
Yes, sir. Dr. Revels will have to sit down and arrange a meeting with Dr. Wells to have a conversation with her because she will be serving as her backup physician.
Okay.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Thank you, ma'am. Advisory board appointments, Animal Control Board 1,
Eddie Knight in place of Marcel White.
Eddie Walker.
Eddie Knight.
Eddie Knight, okay. A motion for Eddie Knight. Got a second by Mr. Cogdell. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Child Protection Team, need two.
Motion table.
Motion table.
Second.
Got a second by Mr. Tripp. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? So moved. Keep Lane Beautiful, 3.
Motion table.
Second.
Got a motion by Mr. Peterson to table. Got a second by Mr. Tripp. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Planning Board 1.
That's my appointment, I'd like to keep the table, I got a person that's interested in it, but he hasn't called me back yet.
Got a motion to table by
Second.
Mr. Cogdell. We got a second by Dr. Mongoins. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Watershed Review Board 3.
Recommending table. So I think the third person.
Dr. Mongoins made a motion to table. Got a second by Mr. Cogdell. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. White Lake Planning and Zoning, ETJ.
I'm gonna keep the ball rolling and ask this be tabled. I'm waiting on a
Second.
call.
Okay, we got a motion to table it by Ms. Trivett. We got a second by Mr. Bullock. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Advisory Board appointment for consideration during November 19, 2018 board meeting, Bay Tree Lake Fire Service District 2. People will be considered. Mr. Martin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to review the calendar with you for the months of November and December. And point out this Saturday, November 3rd, I'm sorry. I went backwards. Wednesday, the 7th, at 5:30 PM, the diabetes forum to continue at Baldwin Branch Missionary Baptist Church.
You can put that on hold right now, sir.
Is that on hold? Okay, thank you. Thursday, the 8th, at 7 PM, the Fire Association meeting will take place at the Dublin Fire Department.
Is that a change? It was, right? Because it was, report something. Okay. Thank you.
Just a reminder, Mr. Bullock mentioned an event at Baldwin Branch Church on Saturday the 10th at 10 a.m. Veterans Day, as you all know, is on the 11th. Offices will be closed on the 12th. However, I did receive a call today from Ann Garrett that the traditional Veterans Day event that's normally held at the Armory here in Elizabethtown will not be held this year due to building issues they have there. I do know that Bladen Community College normally has an event the morning of Veterans Day. Since that's on a Sunday, I'm not sure if that'll be on Monday. As soon as we find out, we'll let you know. And then the Bladenboro Historical, there's normally an event also at the Bladenboro Historical Building, and so we'll find out about that as well. I'm not sure about the time for that.
I think West Blade's got one too.
Okay, we're fine. We'll check on that. On Tuesday, the 13th, at 12 PM, the Elizabethtown White Lake Area Chamber has its monthly lunch meeting at the Farmers Market here in town. Also, the Economic Development Commission Board has a meeting that day at 12 PM. At 2 PM, the opioid working group will meet at the Health Department. That evening at 5:30 PM, the Health and Human Services Advisory Committee will meet at the Health Department. On Wednesday, the 14th, the Shriners will have their fish fry at the Food Line parking lot here in Elizabethtown. And that is from 11 AM until 7 PM. Also, they will have a site at the IGA in Bladenboro, or Fresh Foods, or whatever it's called. On the 17th, at 10 AM, the second annual Pork and Beets Festival will take place here at the Farmers Market in Elizabethtown. The board has a special meeting on Monday, the 19th, at 5:30 PM regarding a tax matter, and a regular meeting at 6:30 that evening. Offices will be closed on Thursday and Friday, the 22nd and 23rd, in observance of the Thanksgiving holiday. On Sunday, the 25th, at 3 PM, the Elizabethtown White Lake Area Chamber will have its annual Christmas parade here in Elizabethtown. And on Friday, the 30th, from 11 until 2, we'll have our annual Employee Appreciation Luncheon. Because the FEMA and SBA offices are set up in the Ag Center, we're trying to work on a location for that, so. Moving over to December, on Saturday, the 1st, at 10:30 AM, the 45th Annual Bladenboro Christmas Parade will be held. On Monday, the 3rd, at 8 AM, there's a prayer service here. There's also a special meeting that day at 5 PM regarding the dementia-friendly initiative training, and the board has a regular meeting at 6:30 PM. On Monday, the 10th, at 5:30, the Health and Human Services Advisory Board meets. On Tuesday, the 11th, the chamber meets at 12 noon here at the Farmers Market. Also, the opioid meeting will be held. The board meets on the 17th at 6:30 PM, and then offices will be closed on the 24th, 25th, and 26th in observance of the Christmas holiday.
Mr. Martin, lady ministerial meets tomorrow.
Tomorrow, okay.
Tomorrow at 8:30.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Chairman, moving on to item B. The board has received a letter from Superintendent Dr. Robert Taylor asking to consider approving a request related to the school system has had an offer to acquire property that is the Paul R. Brown Leadership Academy building and that adjacent property. And so, as required by the North Carolina General Statute, the school system is now coming to the Board of Commissioners to offer the first right of refusal. So if the county is interested in the property, this would be the time to indicate so. There's also been a subsequent letter from the Bladen County Youth Focus Project asking that there be no conditions associated with that deed. That really is a decision of the Board of Education. You certainly can give your recommendation with regard to that matter. In the past, on the two previous deeds between the Board of Education and Bladen Youth Focus, there have been conditions such that the property is required to be used for public purposes like civic or recreational type purposes, continue to be owned by a nonprofit corporation, and if that's not the case, then the property would revert back to the Board of Education.
I'll make a motion that we approve the property as specified in the letter received from Bladen Youth Focus, and any other details that be worked out, with the school board.
Got a motion by Mr. Cogdell, and we got a second by Dr. Montgomery. That discussion, Mr. Peterson.
Yeah, I think the Paul Walker Brown Leadership Academy is doing a good job. I really don't understand why the school system is totally giving away because of the financial burden they're on, but that's their choice. I have no problem with that. The county has no need for that property, but I would like to make a substitute motion that we ask the Board of Education to please put that stipulation in there. If it ever ceases to be used for what this group wants to use it, it reverts back to the Board of Education. That's the substitute motion I would like to make. That's the way the Board of Education has done every property they ever give to, the ones in Blainboro and the leadership before. That's the stipulation, so I would like to make my substitute motion that be added. And what they're doing on I don't, it's up to them. But I think as commissioners, we need to request that stipulation be put in there if it ceases to be used for what it's given for, that it reverts back to the Board of Education. So that's my substitute motion.
Any further discussion?
Explain to me again what you're saying here. There's a motion on the floor right now. So we're kind of stuck right now, right? I mean, what? I mean, I understand what you're saying, Charles Ray, and I do. I'm listening to what you're saying, and I think that's probably what should happen if that's what's being said in the past. There's already a precedent for that, but